And here we are again. Short break, a very short, minute break here. We have 3 more matches to go for this Osu Catch World Cup 2024 edition, round of 32. We're going to look at Argentina versus Denmark right now. I'm going to be looking at it with Toph Daddy, of all people. Look at him. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Had an exciting match, exciting weekend of matches. We got Argentina, Denmark, a top seed versus a low seed. Your number 7 versus 26. Denmark, not full team of 6 players, but still held on enough in the qualifiers to move into the bracket stage. Argentina, very, very strong this year, obviously given their performance in those qualifiers. But whenever we have these top seed versus low seed matchups in round of 32, it begs the question for me, like how the lower seeded team is going to strategize to, give themselves as much of an advantage as possible, especially with like such a good team bearing down on you.
In this case, I really doubt we will see a lot of mod variation coming from Denmark. I have a feeling that it's gonna have to come down to no mods after all. I do feel like Argentina has a grip on them. Definitely in the hard rock pools, double time's probably going to be their forte as well. Maybe they can pull off some random stuff in the hidden pool, but I doubt that be an option as well. So they're just going to have to hold on for the most part, I do believe, especially with a 4-man roster. You can't really swap around too much, so that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it ultimately, I think their pick selection, I could see Hidden 2 coming out from Denmark. Argentina, as far as their qualifier results, didn't have the strongest run on Hidden 2. So I could see something like that coming out. I could also see in that same kind of vein, something like Mixed Mod 2 coming out if Denmark has a player who can handle the hard rock side.
Oh, they do. They really do. So that should be a possibility maybe, especially if we get a lot of bans in the no mod pool, and if that is going to be exhausted. In any case, the latter no mods, so no mod 3 and no mod 4, are both still quite hard. They're actually very akin to a convert. One is a convert, but the other one is also very like a convert. So it plays quite difficult, especially for newer players. Then again, Denmark doesn't really have like a very new player-esque roster, but it's still a weaker team, obviously, when it comes down to the quirky skill sets compared to something like Argentina. As a matter of fact, it does seem that Argentina is going to ban one of those no mods instead of... Oh, actually, I did not expect that. I actually expect them to either ban no mod 1 or 2, but it does seem that they're not a big fan of the convert instead. And I wonder what Denmark is going to be banning here.
I could see a Hard Rock 2 getting banned, or maybe a DT3 ban. I think it's going to be within those 2 pools is kind of where I'm expecting the ban to come out. And yeah, there goes HR 2.
Good guess.
But Denmark will get the first selection in this match. I could see them going off the rip with a no mod 1. Like I said, I could also see a Hidden 2 or a Mixed Mod 2 coming out from them. So they do have a few options they can go for. They're just going to want to steer clear of Hard Rock and DT, I think.
Absolutely, for sure. But going for Hidden, that's very stressful as a very first pick, especially when you're trying to beat a team which mostly overshadows you in terms of skill, especially as the very first match of your tournament campaign. It's always a little bit more nervy than any other, and having to perform well on Hidden on that occasion might just be very difficult as your first pick. I do believe, however, indeed, that a no mod 1 or 2 could be quite logical. Denmark actually being upset that no mod 4 got banned, so maybe no mod 3 is also an option. It is a bit more like no mod 4 at least.
Could definitely see that, though. No mod 3 in this pool is quite challenging with some of the with some of the changes in spacing between like the wiggles and the large sliders that require a lot of focus to get the good accuracy on even just a combo. But Mixed Mod 2 does come out Jitsutronic, so they are going for the lower approach rate Mixed Mod selection.
Yeah, that is peculiar, but there's 2 players that I know somewhat better from Denmark, being Captain and Pare. Both of them are pretty strong players in their own rights. So I'm just gonna have to assume that they will try to carry this home, and then either Nomark or Chukas will have to fill in for the no mod slot. I'm going to assume it's going to be no mark. Actually, now slotting into the hidden spot, I think. Maybe I got it a bit wrong. Argentina, on the other hand, will be able to just swap out the roster. Pretty much however they want on maps of this caliber, I do believe. Most of them are very apt at Hard Rock, but there's also some hidden potential in some of the plays for sure.
Definitely, we see Milcat come in for that final slot on Argentina. It looks like this might be our 6th with Milcat, Velper, and Gonza taking it for Argentina. Kare, no mark captain, staying in for Denmark.
Yep, it's looking like they settled. No more moving around for now. And, yeah, pretty quick with the picks and the composition as well, so that's nice to see.
I think we're just waiting for people to decide. Yeah, looks like there's some discussion about what position the players need to be in. I don't think it matters, but...
Well, it would help with my prediction, at least, of who would play what's on the Danish side. So they better move. They better move.
That is true. We also are seeing another swap out for Argentina. Zeus coming in.
Yeah. So I'm guessing they're gonna spare some of the players this map, so they can mostly focus on Hard Rock. The advantage Argentina obviously has is the fact they can just swap out players whenever they really feel like. So jumping from mods, it's going to be really tough for the players playing this map. If you've played Hidden on this AR's 8.6 pick just now, you're going to have a really rough time on a Hard Rock pick after, which Argentina might just opt for. I think that's a very logical thing for them to do, and to be expected even. So,
especially with the ban that came out from Denmark on that Hard Rock 2 selection, could definitely be a good place for Argentina just to immediately start attacking Denmark.
Yep, I do believe so as well. They've gone on their way by now, 100 combo into the map, and now we can see who plays what mod. So this time around, they're not quite synchronous across the board. Gonza actually going for Hard Rock there for Argentina. And then we have Kare doing it for Denmark. That was quite expected. So Gonza too, but obviously the order a bit confusing here.
Yeah, we do see the first drop coming from the Argentinian side on that no mod from Nilcat. The lower AR might have caught them a little bit off guard, but all three players on Denmark still holding on to the full combo. A little bit of an accuracy loss on their side. So Argentina has an opportunity to come back with that accuracy, but another miss from Nilcat is going to solidify that lead for Denmark about a third of the way through this map.
Yeah, big surprise to see so many misses come out from Nilcat. A third one over there, and I mean, no mod is definitely the easier mod here when you compare it to both Hard Rock and Hidden. And quite a surprise to see Denmark still holding on to a triple FC, considering the circumstances. This would be a very big surprise to me if Denmark were able to pull through. Oh, double miss there for Zeus and Nilcat. Actually, Nilcat I didn't miss there, but Zeus, another big drop there, solidifying that lead for Denmark. Now up in the 100,000s.
Yeah, Captain does trade that miss back, so both HD players for the two teams trading misses back together. But the other two players on both teams are above that 200 combo, so Argentina's going to be able to pick a little bit of that lead back. But we only have a quarter of this map left, and Nomark and Kare still holding on to the full combos, each holding on to the lead for Denmark as we get into the final few patterns.
Yeah, there's not much left of the map, so either Kare and Nomark would have to drop like right now. That could bring it back to Argentina, but that isn't happening seemingly. So they've practiced really well, I can only assume.
That is a miss from Kare, so one of the misses that they need is there, but it's slowly approaching the end of the chart. We're running out of time for Argentina to be able to pick this back up, and it looks like Denmark will take an early point in this match.
Quite astonishing, honestly. Wow, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have expected Argentina to sweep this, but there you go. Denmark actually leading right from the get-go. First pick, very well fought out seemingly, and very nice scores over there, only totaling 3 misses there for the entire team. Nilcat just wasn't able to quite get comfortable in the map, and that was pretty much the only reason Argentina wasn't able to take that one. Well played by Denmark there. Argentina is going to have to come back right immediately.
Yeah, good opening pick from Denmark. Argentina will have their own selection, and like we said, I think we were expecting a Hard Rock 1 selection potentially. I could also see DT coming out from Argentina, though. They, as a team, I think Argentina's not as strong on DT as they'd like, but Mixed Mod won.
I am quite surprised with this one too, honestly. Any high AR would have sufficed, probably a counter pick here, but going for another mixed mod whilst Denmark is already warmed up with the entire mixed mod concept in mind doesn't seem like a good idea. You're just giving into the momentum of Denmark now, but I mean, that's their game plan, it seems to be.
Certainly an interesting choice. I definitely don't think it's the best option that was available to Argentina, given, it's only the second pick in the match, and there's still 3 other mod pools fully available for them to go through.
Oh, absolutely.
But they're exhausting this mixed mod pool, so maybe trying to get Denmark out of a place of comfort early on in this match. That could potentially be an angle, or maybe they just feel really confident in their ability to play mixed mod 1.
Yeah, I assume that's the only thing I can assume, really. They are swapping out quite some of the players, only Gonza staying in for Argentina, but just getting Denmark out of the rhythm is mostly the better or more used at least tactic for teams like Argentina. We've seen it high. So swapping to high AR or low AR after a high AR pick is mostly the way you want to go, because you're gonna just have to readjust. In Denmark's case, you can't really swap out the players, so that is harder. That is just harder to do in a sequence. I am quite surprised still just here, because Denmark can now opt for a no mod pick without really having to readjust so much. It's just easier to swap from a mod back to no mod than it is to swap between mods. I am surprised, but we will see what Argentina has in the bag here.
Yeah, getting into the map here as we're waiting for everyone to just load in. Second pick of the match out of a possible 9 selections, but starting off, no misses at the gate, but give it a little time. No one having any issues. We're seeing Zeus actually find an early break. Another early lead for Denmark, this time off the hidden player, but everyone else still holding onto their combos.
Another one there for Zeus too, so Argentina, or at least Zeus, once more uncomfortable here. Surprisingly, actually. It is a tough map on hidden. It snaps quite weirdly every so often. The jumps are a bit spacey, but that shouldn't be enough reason to miss so many times right at the get-go. So hopefully they can warm up a little now.
Yeah, 3 misses off the gate for the Argentinian side. They are finding a little bit of footing now, but now that we're above the 200 combo mark, all those misses are going to be even exponentially worse, and Zeus not able to fully find themselves here. 5 full combos outside of that, but that is enough for Denmark to, again, extend this lead almost to 100,000, just like in Mixed Mod 2.
Yeah, they just keep on missing, it seems. They are not getting these jumps like every so often, and not being able to combo. Kare is going to find a drop there for Denmark, but that's not going to be enough for Argentina to come back, as Gonza and Story are trying their very hardest to keep up the scoreline a little bit here. And again, no Mark and Captain also doing this perfectly.
Yeah, this is quite a long map, 3 minutes long, so we're only about halfway through. There's plenty of time for Argentina to make a comeback if Denmark starts to find some mistakes, but Zeus, just before getting to that 200 combo mark, is going to find yet another drop, and having a little bit of trouble finding their footing as Kare actually hits that 200 combo mark and is getting full combo bonus for every single node now.
This has got to be some of the tournament nerfs kicking in for Zeus, I do assume. Maybe a fairly new tournament player. I wouldn't really know whether they've played too many community tournaments before this CWC, but that is often a very nice primer if you want to get into this type of scene. Right now, they are moving on to the 200 combo range, but that's not going to be enough yet. Denmark holding on very neatly to their combos. Captain now, finally finding a miss.
I was able to recover from that miss pretty well, so they're not going to lose too much of that lead. Still around 100,000. as Argentina will be picking up a little bit. Captain continuing to find a few drops. Score lead is shrinking a little bit, but we're approaching the end of the map. We only have about 100,000 points total available for each player. So gonna need a few more mistakes if Argentina wants to not give up this break point, but we're running out of time as Captain does find another break again, but Zeus does trade that back. And last few notes, looks like Denmark will be able to take a break point right out of the gate.
I am thinking that a lot of pick-hims have been ruined by now already, considering this lead from Denmark. A break point against Argentina, the number 7 seed. It was pretty much the last thing I expected to happen in this match. I do wonder, will they then go for Nomad? Or will they maybe try some Hidden, seeing as Zeus is having some issues there?
Yeah, Hidden definitely feels like what I would be thinking about, especially with the performances in the qualifiers where Denmark's Hidden 2 is like low AR Hidden was a little bit better than the rest of their mod pools.
Yeah.
And Argentina's Hidden low AR Hidden on the qualifiers was a bit lower than all their mod pools. So it feels like you could go in that range. I could also see a Nomad 3 or a Nomad 1 coming out from Denmark in this scenario.
And I mean, yeah, the Nomad pick would be logical here, according to what I would expect from a team like them. But this is a different situation than I thought they would be in after 2 maps as well. So I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's also worth noting, like, if we think it's potentially Zeus having some nerves issues, Hidden makes nerves issues way worse. Because when you're nervous and having to be that patient with the notes, with the low AR, it's extremely common to just rush all of the jumps and hypers, but Nomad 1 is going to be the selection, going for the consistency pick, which I was honestly a little surprised stayed open from Argentina.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So according to plan, pretty much. I've been seeing a couple of messages that vv2155904903 might be moved into the lobby soon, which is pretty much the third core player of the Argentinian team. That could also help with the upcoming maps, but so far, no sign of them in the lobby at least. And they're gonna have to play in about 2 minutes. You can't delay the game for too long.
I'm not sure if they're going to try to take that time to see if we can get vv2155904903 into the lobby. I assume that's what they want to do, but I don't know if they're going to have enough time. Though there is the swap. vv2155904903 is in the lobby now, so potentially what Argentina needs to start getting some momentum back in their favor here.
Yeah, these 3 people are extremely renowned by now. Strong tourney players, very highly ranked as well, with I think they average around rank 20 if you would combine them together. Story being number 3 in the world, Gonza being number 9 now, and vv215590 used to be a top 3 player, or top 2 player maybe even. Now at rank 40 global, still active after all these years. Absolutely one of the most solid cores in the CWC. This is not the specialty of these easier maps actually for these very high-end players. These might be a bit too slow. And when you compare that to the roster from Denmark, they would perhaps have a bit of an easier time. This is something that any of these players can still learn, however. So we might expect a couple of full combos. We might even see a full lobby full combo. I'm not entirely sure if we've seen that so far this round, but with this type of Danish ambition and this Argentinian team, we can expect a lot. Let's see it happen.
Absolutely. Well, already a little bit disappointing there. Kare finding an early drop there, so no 6-way FC on the Nomad 1 this time. But this is the first lead that we've seen Argentina hold on to now after that first break from Denmark. But that was before the 200 combo for Kare, so misses coming from here on out are going to be more impactful, which might favor Denmark if Argentina starts to find a break or two now that we've hit that 200 combo.
That's true. We're getting into that PI now, see if there's going to be any more misses. The advantage for Argentina is still quite slim. Gonna have to wait and see. If any of the Argentinian players were to miss, the advantage would actually go back to Denmark, considering that Kari missed very early on in the map. So they're gonna have to hold on tight. But so far, they are doing exactly that.
Triple-double S coming out from the Argentinian side so far. That is a miss from Sir Gonzo, though. That does trade back the one miss that Denmark gave up earlier. And like I said, that's going to be a little more impactful. So I would probably expect Denmark to actually take a lead off of that miss, but not probably just about 5 to 10,000 points.
Yeah, it should be about 10,000 points if nothing were to go wrong with the Danish players now. And, well, Kara did find their footing once again. Nolmark and Captain still pushing through with a full combo. They've dropped a couple of droplets, but that's no worry at all. These streams can be a bit trickier. Everybody hits them.
That is true. Sir Gonzo back above 200 combos, so the lead from Denmark staying about the same now. If there's any accuracy drops, Argentina can definitely still take the lead. A miss is not required with the accuracy advantage they have currently. So those droplets going to be extremely important in the back half of the map.
Yeah, hold on to your seats, everyone.
Does this man have
Still
a spinner
swing
at the
either
end?
way. I'm pretty sure there is, yeah. So it could come down to just that. Some tricky jumps in. Nolmark finding a miss together with Sir Gonzo. However, 2 misses though for Nolmark, so that's gonna slightly shift it over to Argentina. But the hope isn't quite lost yet. Another drop from Argentina would give it back to Denmark, but no, that's a Tara both.
2 full combos holding on for Argentina, just the one by Captain on Denmark, and that is going to help solidify a lead now. But Captain dropping the last full combo for Denmark in this chorus. It looks like Argentina is going to be able to skate by off of those final few misses and take their first point of the match. It is a break point as well, as long as nothing goes wrong in this ending, I should say.
Yeah, very unlikely for them to drop it now, especially with the 100,000 score difference, only a couple seconds left, and Story and Velper have done their duty beautifully here. Both very likely finding that full combo. They do indeed. Captain with the final note still missing that one, unfortunately. And yeah, this time around, it's not going to go to Denmark. This is the Argentina that we've come to expect after all these years.
I mean, Denmark was keeping it close for a while. They just started chaining misses back to back to back in that last quarter, and that's the difference between, I guess, a 1,000 point score difference and then expanding it to 100,000. But Argentina finding some footing. They do have their own pick now to potentially tie it up, and I can't imagine they pick I can't imagine they don't pick like Hard Rock 1 or DT.
We've been surprised throughout the entire match so far, so I'm just not gonna try and call this too much. I mean,
okay,
yeah,
Hard Rock
you
1.
did it.
We did
Okay.
it.
Fine.
Argentina made a pick that makes more sense.
Yeah, things are finally making sense, indeed. So, Ironical Parade, the other Hard Rock map was banned. I would suggest that is the more difficult one. This is mostly a consistency pick. Once again, something that I do think the Danish players can also very well play on. But then again, the Argentinians, they have all sorts of Hard Rock specialists. So, to them, this is just a piece of cake.
Yeah, not to mention that Argentina also has more players that can swap in if needed. Denmark, as a 4-man roster, only has that one player sitting on the bench right now. So if they have more than one player right now who's uncomfortable with Hard Rock, they don't really have an option to kind of move them out.
Exactly. And I'm not entirely sure about the performance of Chicas on a map pool of this caliber. They are sitting at around rank 2000, which is still a far way off the players that are playing at the moment. So combined with tournament nerves, I do assume it's very unlikely we'll see a lot of play from Chicas in this round against a behemoth like Argentina. Maybe there's something that he did specialize in. I wouldn't be able to tell. But for now, we are seeing a very solid selection of Kare, Nolmark, and Captain over on the Danish side.
And on Argentina, we're waiting for the third player, but Sir Gonzo and Velperke looking like they're staying in for this, just looking for that last player before we get into Hard Rock 1.
Yeah, who's going to be that player, actually? I did expect the same people to stay in. Story is also a very apt Hard Rock player, but seemingly they might want to take a break. It's going to be Knockout instead. A very solid player, ranked at about 190 global. Also, very strong on double time mostly. So I'm certain about the fact that Knockout is not going to at least struggle with the AO10 here, and this should also, well, be a piece of cake to them, I do think. Then again,
it's what we'd expect, but both mixed mods having already gone to Denmark, kind of against what we expected. So anything can still happen, and Denmark clearly making it known that they are able to keep up with Argentina on so many of these maps already. Could absolutely see anything as long as they are comfortable enough with AR10 and the precision required on this Hard Rock pick.
Yeah, this is one of those rare occasions where truly anything goes, and we will see which way the coin will flip this time around. On this fourth map, a couple of misses there for Denmark very early on from Nomark and Captain, so a bit of an early lead for Argentina, but then again, it's just the very start of this 3-minute song. Lots to still go through.
Yeah, though, Captain finding another set of drops there, struggling to get above that 100 so far, but seems like Denmark is starting to find their footing as we approach that 200 combo for the full combos. Nomark does find another drop, Captain as well. Not able to really get themselves situated, and looks like Argentina is going to come out with a very strong starting lead.
Yeah, the AR is just a tad bit higher than what we saw from that no mod, so you're gonna have to get your eyes adjusted a little bit. Going from no mod to hard rock isn't the toughest thing. I mean, you can also go from hidden to hard rock, which is one of the hardest things you can do right in the middle of a tourney match. But if you're experienced enough, you can manage. If you aren't, that's going to be a bit of an issue. And I think that's exactly what's happening to Nomark and Captain there, as Nomark is going to drop another time. Argentina's lead now, 130,000 points.
Yeah, we're seeing 3 double S's on the side of Argentina. 1 full combo for Denmark from Kare. Captain finding their footing finally. Just about to approach that 400, but Nomark not able to keep that combo strong enough, but Nocat does trade that back. So it's just 2 full combos to 1. And right now, the combo bonus for both teams is roughly the same, 2 players each above the 200 combo. So the lead isn't going to be growing at this point, but Captain does find a drop, and that's going to help Argentina extend it a little bit more.
Yeah, it's going to have to come down sometime soon, otherwise there won't be enough map left for them to make a comeback. Captain, however, drops again, and it just seems that Denmark consistently misses more across the board than Argentina. Especially considering the fact that Velpiquet and Gonza haven't really decided on dropping quite yet. Still on a full combo. Another miss there for Captain, and it's looking pretty grim by now.
Yeah, hitting the last third of this map, so just about a minute left in this. So there's still opportunities for misses, but with a 200,000 point score cap, that's gonna need maybe like 7 or 8 misses. And given that the performance so far from Argentina and their consistency, I don't really see that happening just in this last quarter of the map.
Nope, no explosions here, I do believe. Nomark with another drop, however, and yeah, Denmark just really can't quite keep up with this hard rock pick. It's unfortunate. Kara is really trying the best to at least keep up with the other Argentinians, but it's a team effort, and there's not enough team points to be distributed here in Denmark for them to win this pick over Argentina. 240,000 points of difference. This is the biggest margin so far, and I don't think that's going to come down at this very last part of the map.
Yeah, in fact, it looks like it's actually going to increase with Kare, unfortunately breaking the full combo right at the end. But still a good score from them, just not enough when you're up against 2 full combos on the side of Argentina and a 1 miss from Nilcat as the only break that we saw from them.
Absolutely, not too shabby at all there from Denmark. This is still a pretty tough map, despite the fact that mostly it's a consistency-based map. Swapping between the lower AR to this is still a step you have to make, and as you can also see in the graphs, most misses were indeed at the very beginning of the map for both Nomark and Captain. But yeah, they found their footing a little bit too late. What will they do now, however? Going back from this to hidden might also be pretty rough, so yeah, maybe not the plan they want to go for.
Definitely maybe not the best option, but like as far as making sure that Denmark can, adjust to the reading properly. So I could definitely see a Nomad 2 being the pick here. Just going like off of what picks I think are strongest for Denmark, definitely Nomad 2, Nomad 3, and Hidden 2. I think are like the 3 areas that I'd stick around. It's just about whether or not you can adjust to the lower ARs of Nomad 3 and Hidden 2. Kind of makes the decision making a little more difficult for Denmark here.
True that. But stabilizing Nomad 2 sounds like a good plan for now. I do believe. Again, Argentina could very well just swap out the players that just played Hard Rock for Hidden. And they might not opt to do that if they were to go for Nomad, because that jump just isn't quite as big. And then again, you could go for Hidden afterwards, considering the fact that Hard Rock, the pool over there, has been fully depleted. No more Hard Rock options there for Argentina. And there you go. Nomad 2 indeed.
Yeah, understandable pick. Won't be too heavy on the reading, going from AR10 to about AR 9.4-ish or 9.2, something along those. 9.3. I picked right around it. But should be good for Denmark to do this. They stayed very close to Argentina on Nomad 1 for a majority of the map, and this is a lot shorter, so that consistency requirement is not quite as heavy as it was on Nomad 1, and I could definitely see Denmark doing a good job in keeping up with Argentina on this.
Yeah, correct. It's definitely going to be a smaller difference than what we just saw in the Hard Rock pick. That is one thing I'm absolutely sure of. But how big that margin is going to be and which side it's going to go to, we will have to wait and see. I am going to assume that Denmark once again is going to keep in the entire roster they just had. The other hand, Argentina is going to bring back story into the story. There you go, pun intended.
Love our buzz around here, but yep, just one swap out for Argentina, it looks like. Just waiting for the players to ready up now, and we'll get into this. An equalized match, 2-2 right now, so effectively turned it into a best of 5 match going into the rest of this. But Denmark looking to give themselves another advantage. I really don't know what to expect out of Denmark here. I think they did a good job on Nomad 1, but Argentina seems to have really found their momentum and footing, and the expectation is still for Argentina to be able to perform well enough to take this, but Denmark showing a lot of guts so far and putting up some really good scores.
Yeah, let's see just how ambitious these people are. See if they can fend off Argentina. One more point here. I mean, from here on, it's just going to be a matter of surviving whatever is to come, I do believe. I'm not calling the first 2 wins that Denmark took a fluke by any means, but once again, Argentina does seem to have stabilized a bit. Here we go. The 5th pick of the game. Is it boss time, dude?
I think it is.
Oh, yeah.
Opening pretty straightforward patterns, but Nomad is going to find a very early drop, give Argentina a little bit of a lead, but if you're going to drop, the beginning's the best place to do it.
Correct, yeah. The map is going to get exponentially harder here. A couple of streams incoming, everybody hitting those, but these snaps can be somewhat tricky. There's a couple of very long sliders too. I expect a couple of misses here and there.
And Nomad is going to find another drop. Now that we're above 200 combo, that's going to be more impactful. So the 2 drops from Nomad, the only misses so far. Triple double S on the side of Argentina, 2 FCs for Denmark, along with 1 double S. Just that difference coming from the 1 or the 2 sets of misses that we've seen expands that lead to 50,000 points, so big lead just off those 2. But everyone not having too much trouble with this section as we're going to get into the break section.
Yep, it's not a disaster yet. Nomad will just have to find the footing for a bit, and just any 2 misses on the Argentinian side could still bring it back to Denmark. Once again, this is not the hardest of picks, so I can see both Kare and Captain dropping a full combo on this one. We just have to keep our eyes on Argentina for the time being, as all 3 players over there are still rocking a double S, which is also incredibly impressive. Let's see if they can do it for the entirety of the map.
Got just one more guy left. We got the last third coming up here after this transition. triple double S on lock right now for Argentina. Everyone recovering for Denmark as well. No mark above 400 combo now, so full combo bonus coming to everyone. It's all about keeping that consistency now, but No Mark is going to find a break there, and that might solidify the lead enough for Argentina to run away with this now.
Yeah, that's a tough one, especially if it's only one player missing on the end of Denmark. That's probably going to demoralize No Mark a bit once they see that everybody else was able to hold on to their full combos, if that's going to be the case at least. Couple more jumps here and there, but it's not enough time for Denmark to make a comeback at all, even if all players were to drop on the Argentinian side. And there you go. Final spinner. Well done by Denmark, but wow, what an incredible play for Argentina to just drop a triple FC right there. A triple SS even.
Yeah.
Okay, they're back.
I don't think you can do much about that. Even with a triple FC on Denmark, the droplet misses, I think, would have still given that to Argentina. So, very impressive scores all around. But yeah, there's not much you can do about a triple double S.
Indeed, there isn't. And Argentina, again, back in the game. I can also pick the next map. So will they slow it down? Will they bring the tempo back in by playing some double time? They can go anywhere with this now. They can swap out as many players as they want and make Denmark feel as uncomfortable as possible. I think that's the goal here.
Yeah, I don't see a world where they stay in no mod or go into a lower approach rate option. I think DT is kind of what I'd want to see out of Argentina. And DT2 does come out, in my opinion, the trickiest DT map to score well on.
Oh, absolutely. I fully agree with that. There's a couple of people that seem to prefer this over Double Time 3, but I just find the snapping on this map so extremely difficult. Especially if you're a bit nervous, which Denmark might just be now after having lost 3 maps in a row now. Yeah, tough one. Tough one indeed.
Yeah, they are going to actually decide to swap a player out on the side of Denmark. T2 just coming in. So finally getting that swap in through. Milkcat also comes back in for Argentina. It looks like these are going to be our primary teams for both sides for DT2. And I mentioned that this is really tricky. The snapping is difficult on this, but I think a big part of that is because of the swing rhythm that causes the timing to kind of be a little bit more awkward to hit properly.
Yeah, it all factors in, definitely. The micro movements you kind of have to make every so often, so you have to tap dash quite often throughout the map. That just requires more control in general. But I am happy to see Chukas over here. Perhaps they were forced to practice this map over and over by the Danish team. I'm not entirely sure. Milkcat also making their comeback, but at least we saw the entire team of Denmark play today. And they're still in it, right? I mean, they could very well just make an upset here. I doubt it, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Chukas will pull something incredibly crazy out of the bag.
Yeah, as a general note, DT was one of the skill sets that Denmark, during qualifiers, was weakest at. So, unfortunately, with only a 4-man roster, you're going to have some holes in your team, most likely. And this might just be where Denmark hits that. But this map is even though it is the trickiest of the DT maps to score well on in this pool, it is certainly a lot easier than the qualifiers pool. So, you can definitely see them pull out some magic here.
And magic they will need. A bit of magic of friendship going on here too. It's just fun to see everybody adding each other. But yeah, they're gonna get started in 5 seconds, so no more adding each other. You can become friends after the game, right? Focus now. Let's see it happen. The 6th map of this match. Denmark now trailing by a single point. We'll have to make a break here.
Here we go. Swing rhythm starting off right away. Nullcat finding the first break of the lobby. Kari and Jukas do trade that out, though. Captain also dropping, so now no full combos on the side of Denmark already. Veltake and Serkansen holding on for the time being as they approach that 200 combo mark. So Argentina going to take a little bit of a lead right out the gate.
Yeah, solid lead already at 90,000 points. It is seemingly mostly Kara actually bottlenecking the Danish team. Chukas finding another miss there too. Both of them fairly inconsistent. Nullcat also pretty far ways off from a full combo, but it gets dampened a lot by the performance of Gonza and Veltake, who are once again doing absolutely marvelously here. full comboing thus far. Captain really trying their best, but they missed at the very start too. That score advantage is growing tons by the second half.
Yeah, not even halfway through the map and already at about 200,000 points of difference. As the two full combos hold on, Milkcat now above 200 combo as well. So full combo scoring for the Argentinian side, and Captain does actually find a break. So that is steep. Was the only big combo for Denmark as Kari and Dukas do start to find more consistent breaks, but Milkcat trades one of those back with just the two full combos, but that is still enough to keep extending this lead even further for Argentina.
Yeah, the score is really worlds apart by now. 350,000 points of difference, and it just keeps on growing, and it just keeps on growing. It's unfortunately Dukas that is not fully comfortable on this type of map yet. They're not performing truly bad at all. 97% is still a very neat feature, but it's not quite enough to take the blows from Argentina here, with Gonza and Velpake once again hitting the 1000 combo, moving very close into a full combo.
Yeah, just the ending patterns left in this, and pretty much no opportunities for Denmark to come back in this. That would be another point for Argentina, bringing it to match point, though it is going to be Denmark's pick coming up here. So they'll have an opportunity to go with something that they're more comfortable with, and, you know, an opportunity to keep themselves alive in the winner's bracket.
Correct, indeed. Well tried there by Denmark, but unfortunately just not quite enough to fend the two giants of Argentina off. Milkcat here with a couple of drops, quite consistent as well, at about 845,000 points. But then again, having Milkcat score multiplied by 3 would still be suffice score to beat Denmark there. So double time, really not the mod section Denmark is looking forward to playing to in the latter rounds of this tournament as well, I do believe. And Argentina is very likely going to be primed up for another double time pick if they were to pick the final pick of their match here. It's still Denmark who can pick. They could still win that pick. I'm guessing they're going to go for no mod 3. I think that's the most sensible option here. But if they were to win, it's going to be another Argentinian pick. And I do believe that's just going to be another double time, seeing as this difference was just absolutely massive.
Yeah, and I think that pretty much means Denmark is kind of forced to go into a little bit of a lower AR pick in this scenario. All 3 maps remaining outside of the DP pool being lower in approach rate. I think the highest approach rate out of all of them is 9, which is Hidden One's approach rate. So we'll need a little bit of adjustment after that DT pick, but they did get a swap out during that with Jukas coming in, so they'll at least have someone who should...
Okay.
Not what I expected.
Bit of a kamikaze, maybe. That is a peculiar pick, but maybe they can catch Argentina off guard. Maybe that's the plan. I'm not entirely certain, honestly speaking. What I could guess is the fact that the Danish players have now sort of warmed up for double time through that other play. They have swapped out Jukas for No Mark once more. And that means that No Mark might have had the time in solo play to practice this map real quick right before they got into the lobby again. So perhaps with this in mind, they are gonna try, and very much try so to beat Argentina on this pick. Whether that's going to work out, I'm not entirely sure. And then again, there's another double time pick which could be picked afterwards if Denmark were to succeed on this one. And once again, I don't see this working out too well, honestly.
Yeah, I am interested to see how this goes. I mean, Denmark has to have some kind of confidence in this over, you know, the No Mod 3 and both hidden picks if they wanted to go with this over those 3 selections. But after seeing the difference on DT2, it's hard to see a world where Denmark, you know, keeps up with Argentina in a way that would allow them to take this point. But this DT pick is a little bit easier to score on, despite being harder to read because of the high density and the high approach rate. It's still, the patterns themselves are relatively straightforward. Yeah.
The patterns are straightforward. It's just a bit more speedy. which could work in favor of some players. Then again, the Argentinians are pretty speedy players themselves as well. So it is just not a counter pick by any means in any world. Yeah, we're just hoping for a miracle here, I think. The 7th and maybe final pick of this game. From Denmark, double time. Once more, double time free.
Yeah, double time free does not take any time. Early miss from Story there. Also, but that was traded back by No Mark as well. 2 full combos on both sides right out of the gate. Looks like a little bit heavier of a drop from No Mark there. So Argentina is going to have a slight lead as we are already hitting that 200 combo. And Captain does find a break as well. That'll extend the lead a little bit in favor of Argentina.
Just a little bit. Story opting for Hidden here, which is mostly used for reading purposes. No Mark missing again for Denmark in the meanwhile. A couple of misses there, actually. But I'm quite surprised that Story opted for Hidden, despite the fact that this is not really high AR for them. Then again, it doesn't really matter, does it? Denmark missing quite often here. No Mark can carry with a couple of drops there. Score difference of 130,000 points. Story is going to slow that down just a little bit, but not quite enough for Denmark to take over the lead.
Yeah, and just before No Mark hits 200, they do find another miss, so it's not going to help them lower that lead. It's already 150,000 points in favor of Argentina, but Kare and Captain do solidify their combos, but Valperke and Gonza both, similar to the last few picks, just holding on to the full combos through the entirety of these maps.
Yeah, it's absolutely mesmerizing to see these two play at the level they can play at. Just absolutely smashing all of these round of 32 maps. No problems at all. Captain there missing a big droplet. That's such an unfortunate space to miss a note in. No Mark again, not really being able to precisely pick up these notes. Just undershooting a couple of them. 220,000 points. Either Argentina would have to blow up entirely here, which I don't see possible because this is the easiest part of the map, or Denmark is going to lose this one out.
Yeah, not much left to make mistakes on. No Mark does find another break right at the end, but that is going to do it for DT3. And Argentina, despite having a little bit of a rocky start, losing the first 2 points, do make a comeback, get 5 points in a row, and survive in the winner's bracket, knocking Denmark into the loser's bracket for round of 16.
Yeah, correct. Rocky start indeed for Argentina, but a really solid one for Denmark on the other hand. I think a lot of people, including myself, were quite surprised at the level of the performance they were able to show off today. Going home 5-2 is something that they can be absolutely proud of. That is such a marvelous performance against a top-seeded team like Argentina. So really well played to Denmark. They'll be back in the losers bracket next week, and Argentina is going to move on with their campaign in that winners bracket. One of the potential top candidates of this tournament, obviously. Well played.
Indeed. Well played. And that's about it for that match. We've got another one coming up in about 12 minutes. That'll be the United States versus Estonia. And then right after that, one more match for the weekend, Peru versus Spain. So we got those last couple of matches to round out the weekend before our round of 16 map pool showcase. But I think we're going to be taking a short break here just before the United States and Estonia duke it out. Do you have anything else to say before we take our short break?
I mean, I could just chill out and ask you guys to buy some banners in the meantime. I mean, you have 12 minutes now anyway. You could, get yourself a bit of water, a bit of food, relax for a little bit, and then you can go on to the OC store, watch those beautiful banners of the teams this year. Perhaps buy a banner, maybe even 2 of the teams you support. They're very nice, they look nice on your profile, and you would support the game and this tourney buying them too. So that is greatly appreciated. Well, I greatly appreciate you guys watching too. We'll be back in 12, and I thank you, Toad, for this nice cast, and we'll see you in a bit.
Buy one for Iceland.